Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we're taking a look at the fleet carriers over on the beta servers, and we're just heading to the system here, DISO, whatever it's called, in order to purchase one of these big massive carriers. Now outside the station, at the back of the station, you can see the dry dock, and in the dry dock is indeed a fleet carrier that's supposedly been under construction. This is using the same model that you will actually get when you purchase them, or the same type of model. So yeah, you can see the fleet carriers are actually quite large. Now in this video, I'm actually going to go through purchasing one of these. We're going to have a look at some of the services, what they're all about, and most importantly, I think for a lot of people, we're going to see the total costs of purchasing and outfitting a carrier, as well as the current upkeep costs, which are pretty significant indeed. So inside the stations, if you come to one of the stations that actually have a carrier seller or carrier vendor, we can see we have the ability to purchase one of these. So as we know, the cost of these is 5 billion. I do have that and a little bit of spares as well, so we should be able to outfit these. I actually went through and sold all my assets on the beta server here before making the video, so we're doing relatively well. Now fleet carriers are massive ships used as a mobile base of operations, offering multiple hangar bays and various services. You can purchase a carrier through this contact who represents the Brewer Corporation. Over on the right here, we've got a codex entry. This is basically a manual on how to use the fleet carriers. Let's have a very quick look at that before you make the purchase, just to see what type of info it actually gives us. So we've got an introduction to the fleet carrier, which is the same as what I just read out. We've also got a how to purchase option, which is odd considering we're already at that screen. A fleet carrier management, summaries, a navigation budget, all the rest of it. We're not going to go and look at all of this right now because we actually want to purchase the carrier, but it's nice to know it's there. So before we purchase, we can name the carrier. And once you've done that and gone ahead and made the purchase, the carrier will actually appear somewhere in the current system. I do believe if the current system is actually full, I don't know the limit on the amount of carriers that can be in any one system, but as long as there's space here, the carrier will appear around a random body in the current system. Outstanding Commander, on behalf of the Brewer Corporation, may we offer our sincerest congratulations. You are now the proud owner of a Drake-class carrier. The fact it actually calls it a Drake-class carrier might suggest at some point there might be alternative models perhaps, so let's have a look where the carrier actually is. Now the thing that surprised me is that this was actually only 30 minutes into the beta being live, and already we can see a whole ton of carriers in this system. So I think system maps are going to get very, very busy. Hopefully at some point there'll be a way to filter these out because it's going to look very noisy on some systems. So this is my carrier. We can see the facilities that are enabled and the ones that are disabled. They're disabled because they haven't actually been installed yet. But we can plot a route here and then fly to the carrier. Let's go have a look. So it turned out that my carrier was actually parked in a very nice location here, right in the inside of a ring system. There's a nice bit of footage we get in a minute where we can see the sun and the planet as well. But as you can see, the carrier was instantly very, very busy. I'm actually in solo mode here, so all of this is NPC traffic. But nonetheless, these ships come and go, giving the impression that it's a very busy area. Now, on the carrier itself, we've got a number of options. Most notably among these are the carrier services, which are effectively the same as station services and will account for everything that we actually have installed on the carrier itself. We also have the carrier management option, which you can access through the carrier services screen, but for some reason it wasn't actually working until I logged off and logged back on again. So meanwhile, I just used the carrier management through the right panel of the ship. And you can do this remotely, you don't have to be docked here to use this, but it will bring you to the same system. Now, over on the right, you can see the amount of fuel. Over on the left, we have a bunch of options. First, let's have a look at navigation. It shows the current system. We can open the galaxy map and plot a course to any system that we actually want. So you can actually jump directly to a particular star system. We're going here to the Maya star system. You can just choose that on the carrier option, or you can go into the star system and choose a specific location. Now, I did have some trouble with this because I assume it's due to server load. When I chose an option or a destination option here, it wasn't possible to actually cancel it, so we could choose that right there, just proving the fact that we can instantly jump the 300,000 light seconds into that system. But for some reason it wasn't actually working when I tried to set another location. Just watch this here, see, it stays red. So I assume this is down to server load, but it also brought some other problems, which you'll see at the end of the video, so keep an eye out for that. We do have a little bit of an issue with where the carrier ends up. Now, heading back to the interface screen here, we've had a look at the navigation. We can see our destination is locked in, 59 minutes until jump and 56 minutes until the pads are locked down. Now here is the really interesting screen. This is the budget screen. We'll come back to this in just a minute. Another screen is commodity trading. I know there's a bunch of people who wanted to see how this actually works. So we can actually choose any one of these particular products and then choose to place a buy or a sell order. And pretty much every single commodity is listed here, including some of the very expensive ones, such as void opals and low temperature diamonds. We can see those right here. So let's place a buy order for void opals. You can actually buy these for whichever price you actually like. One thing you'll notice straight away is there's a negative carrier balance. It's actually minus at the purchase price here, and over on the right, it's just faded out, the bottom right, you can see the carrier balance is 0, and that's because I haven't actually funded the carrier yet. So we need to head on over to the budget screen and deposit some money in there. So everything you actually do with your carrier comes out of this fund. You can put in pretty much as you actually like, but as usual, we've got some other useless interfaces here. We have to hold down the plus key. We can't actually type in a figure, and there's no sliders to drag. So yeah, it does speed up a bit, but if you want to put 1 billion in here or more, you're going to be sitting here for a little while. Sure, it's only seconds, but it's a little frustrating. I'm only going to put a few 100 million in anyway, so let's get to it. In the end, I decided 100 million was enough because that took long enough. I did place a cut in there as well. So back to the sell order screen, or the buy order screen in this particular case. So from what I can see, you can set these to whatever you want. You can set them to just 5% of the galactic average, and you can go all the way up to 1000% of the galactic average. But again, you're stuck with the same plus minus option here. Again, it doesn't matter if you click on the buy price button there, you can't type any figures in. There's no way to slide the figure, so you just have to click and click and hold and wait and keep waiting until eventually you get to the price that you want. So the idea here is that ultimately you'll park up in a location where people will be willing to sell to you their void opals or their low temperature diamonds or which other ever commodity you wish to buy. Now you can see the allocated credits increasing down the bottom for this commodity. There's just one unit here. Obviously I can choose how many units I want, and that will then be multiplied by the price I actually set. This will all be deducted out of the carrier balance up front. So yeah, that will be taken immediately and then be used to pay the seller, to the person who actually sells me the void opals. So let's move on to the services screen. This is where we can add or remove services to the station. The ones in yellow are already active, and they are the core ones. The ones in orange are optional. So 40 million up front here. Active, this costs 9 million credits per week, and if we suspend it, it still costs 4.5 million credits. So if you want to go away from the game and suspend the carrier to try and keep the running costs cheap, it's still going to cost you 4.5 million per week, whether you're playing or not, just to keep the refuel service open. Yeah, I'm very hesitant there because I can't believe these prices, and you're going to see more of that as we get in. They take a little while before they actually activate. So let's buy the repair option here. We're going to fully outfit this carrier. 9 million per week for the repair crew. Again, suspending that is 4.5 million. We haven't got enough money though, so we're going to need to deposit some more credits out of my balance here. So, repair crew now installed. I'm probably going to need to fund even more here. I've only got 500 million into the carrier, but let's see how it goes. Next up is the armory. Upfront cost 95 million, 11 million credits per week to run this. Yeah, so it's basically 50% discounted if you suspend it. So each of these services actually deducts out of the total amount of space in the carrier. That uses 250 units. The redemption office uses 50 units. Upfront cost 150 million and 12 million credits per week. Now I assume the thing is that most people are not going to be running all of these services. At least I suspect that's what Frontier are thinking, that people are actually going to go ahead and only use the services that they want, thereby making customized carriers that only use specific services rather than absolutely everything. But nonetheless, 500 million, 520 million credits to install a shipyard here, and an amazing, absolutely astoundingly unbelievable 42 million credits per week to actually keep that active and running. So that's the shipyard installed, outfitting a nice round of 390 million credits to install, 36 million credits per week to actually run this. And to be perfectly honest, if you're going to have a shipyard, you're probably also going to have outfitting, even if you don't have anything else on your ship. The secure warehouse, this is for your own personal inventory space, 165 million and 18 million credits per week to keep this active. Most people are going to have this, let's face it. Personal storage is a really good option, but at these prices, I think I'm going to be thinking twice about this. Now, do keep in mind that, of course, all of these figures here are down to the fact it's in a beta. These are by no means the final figures. They could be far less when the actual game goes live. But the point here is that Frontier might be thinking of haggling with the players. Let's knock it down by a few million. But to be honest, these prices, these fees, these upkeeps are so far out of the ballpark that it's unbelievable. And reducing them by 10%, 20% just isn't going to cut it. They've really going to need to go down by 80%, 90%, somewhere in that region, because this just makes no sense whatsoever. Let's have a look at the figures and bring them up on the screen. But first, let's take a look at the decommissioning screen. Now keep in mind that at this point I've spent about 6.3 billion on the carrier. Let's see how much we actually get back. So if we were to scrap the carrier now, we get a refund value of 4 billion. So that's a loss, a net loss, or total loss of 2.3 billion credits straight off of the bat. And this will actually go down the more we use the carrier. The more wear and tear it gets, the lower it's actually valued at. And the further away from the purchase system or the carrier vendor systems, the lower this fee will actually be. So yeah, you're not getting much money back on the total of the carrier. Now, it's possible that this may not be including all the services. It may just be the base cost of the carrier, and then I should actually sell the services individually before I actually sell a carrier. If you do redeem the services or send them back, you get a 50% return on the original cost. In terms of the upkeep costs, this is the service screen, and it shows us how much we have to pay out per week. Now, we can see the weekly upkeep here is 44 million credits, but we have to keep in mind that today is Tuesday and the server tick, when this fee is going to be deducted, is Thursday. So this is basically 2 days or maybe 2 and a bit days of upkeep. The full weekly cost is actually quite a bit higher. Let's put those figures on the screen. So the total weekly upkeep cost is 147 million credits per week. That is very, very high indeed. And it actually works out to over 7 billion credits per year in upkeep costs. Now keep in mind, I will say this again, that I do believe that Frontier don't feel that players should be fully outfitting a carrier unless they can afford to do so. Instead, I think Frontier actually want people to customize a character for the just a handful of services that they actually want. But even then, even if you just go for a shipyard and outfitting or a shipyard and refueling, the upkeep costs are going to be significant. After all, just for the core cost of the carrier, that's 10 million per week, and refuel is 9 million per week. So if those are the only two services you wanted, you're still going to be paying 19 million credits per week. A shipyard on its own is 42 million credits. And don't forget, you need to have the shipyard installed if you want to actually transfer your other fleets or your other ships into the carrier. Now, I'm not going to go too much on about the cost of the upkeep right here in this video. I'm going to save it for another video, but do be fully aware that I think these prices are totally over the top, and not just by 10% or 20%. They are actually significantly out of range of what I feel is reasonable. Even if they were reduced by 50%, it would still be too much. Anyway, I don't want to let these upkeep costs override the rest of the video or the entirety of the video, but it's probably a bit too late for that. But let's move on to the rest of the features here. Now, this is the shipyard. We can stock it with various types of ships. You can see they're all packaged up. The Falcon de Lacy gives you an Anaconda, some Crate Phantoms, a Crate Mark II, and Pythons. 4 Pythons, 4 Crates, 4 Crate Phantoms, and 3 Anacondas, that is. So we purchased these in blocks. Let's look at this one here at 321 million. And what is the price for buying these individually? So I took a look over at Coriolis. This doesn't include any discounts on the ships, but to buy these individually in the game, you'll be paying 321 million at 361,890 credits. And that's if you don't actually go to Shinrata Desra and get a large discount. So essentially what this means is that a carrier owner will not be able to make any profit on selling ships. So in short, what this means is that to have a shipyard installed on your carrier, it will cost 42 million credits per week, and you have no way from that shipyard to actually pay back that upkeep costs. Now there is of course the argument that you do get the added convenience of having a shipyard on your carrier. Maybe this is a benefit for your friends or for your squadron or for your player group. In that regards, it is a big benefit. But you won't be making a profit on ship sales, so yeah, the carriers are not a trading platform in that regards. It seems to me what you're paying for here is the convenience of having a shipyard wherever you want it to be located. So the outfitting stock, this works exactly the same way as a shipyard. You buy modules in bulk. So what we got here is analytical devices. We can see these are 111 million. I haven't priced these up individually, but I am going to assume that it works the same as a shipyard, that basically you're buying all of these at their original cost price. And as you can see here, there are multiple categories here, and each category does have various tiers where you can buy different qualities of item. So that pretty much covers all the available services that you can have fitted to your carrier. I'm going to make another video where we look at it from the passenger point of view, the user point of view, but let's wrap this video up now with a jump. Now I wanted to actually stop the jump to the Maya system because it's a little bit too far away, and obviously I will have no fuel left at this particular point, but it wouldn't cancel, so there was no way to stop this or prevent this jump from happening. I've no idea at the moment whether or not I'm about to refuel at the other end. Hopefully there's a refinery economy there. It does look like there is one right near the Maya system, and that we're about to buy enough fuel to get ourselves back into the bubble. But for now, we're going to leave it right here. We'll be back with another bunch of videos looking at the other aspects of fleet carriers. I'm going to actually leave you off with the jump sequence. Now, I tried to film this from the outside, but a few minutes before the jump sequence goes live, the landing pads actually lock down, which means your ship actually descends down into the hangar bay, and that's what's happening right here. It meant that I wasn't actually able to film this from the outside, but what I will leave you with is the audio sound of the jump sequence and what it looks like from inside the carrier. I'll be back very soon with those other videos.
Attention all ships. Hyperspace travel is imminent. Please maintain a safe distance from the carrier. Attention all carrier crew. Friendship drive engaged. Attention. Final carrier checks are underway. Counting down to jump. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Carrier jump successful. Telemetry checks in progress.